Okay, so get this. Imagine a world where you could create like realistic videos just by typing in instructions
Wow.
or training robots,
Mm.
in this like virtual world without any risk in the real world.
Yeah.
That was kind of sci-fi, right?
Totally.
But that's the potential of a universal simulator.
Yeah.
And today, we're going to do a deep dive into UniSim,
Right.
which is a research project that is really working towards making this a reality.
Yeah.
So we've got all these research papers, presentations, all about how it works, what makes it special, and how it's already being used to train, well, everything from language models to actual robots.
So what's really ambitious here is that they're bringing all these different types of data together.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be a challenge.
Because, you see, simulating reality
Right.
is a lot harder than it sounds.
I bet.
Just think about it for a second, like giving instructions in text.
Yeah.
Well, that's totally different from controlling a robot arm,
Wow.
which is also different from moving a camera around a scene.
Right. Yeah.
And most of the data that's out there that we have, it's only
Right.
good for one specific thing.
Makes sense.
It's not for creating this like truly interactive simulation.
So it's like trying to, I don't know, build a house
Okay.
using blueprints and Lego instructions and then like a YouTube video
Yeah,
all at the same time.
that is a great analogy. That's a really good analogy.
Thanks.
And that's where I think the UniSim approach really shines. Instead of relying on just like one type of data,
Yeah.
they're using a whole bunch of different sources,
Uh-huh.
images, videos of people doing things,
Wow.
robot motion data,
Okay.
even 3D scans of real places.
So they're not just like throwing everything into a blender and hoping for the best.
No.
There's got to be some method to this madness, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They have come up with these really clever ways to process each type of data
Huh?
so it can all work within a single framework.
Makes sense.
For example, text instructions are turned into something called embeddings.
Embeddings.
Yeah, think of it like translating words into a numerical code that the simulator understands.
Oh, interesting. So they're kind of creating a universal language for the simulator.
Yeah.
Like a digital translator for all these different data types.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that leads to what they call an action in video out interface.
Yeah.
You give UniSim an action like open the drawer or a set of robot movements,
Right.
and then it generates a video of what would happen next.
Hold on. Did you say video?
Yeah.
Like it actually produces moving images?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about simulations, not like Hollywood productions here.
I know, that's the amazing part.
Wow.
They're using this really sophisticated AI model called a video diffusion model to create these videos.
Okay.
It's a technique that can generate like highly realistic and complex visuals.
So how does that work?
Well, to put it simply, imagine like a blurry image slowly coming into focus.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of the basic idea behind video diffusion models.
Got it, cut up.
So we're not talking about like clunky old video game graphics.
No.
This is like watching a real event unfold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's not just like short clips either.
Right.
UniSim can actually simulate these long sequences where actions have these like lasting consequences.
Okay.
So imagine like simulating someone making a sandwich.
Yeah.
UniSim can show each step, like from grabbing the bread to putting the finished sandwich on a plate,
Uh-huh.
all while like remembering where everything is.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful this could be, but how does it keep track of everything? It's like it has this memory of what's happened, like a virtual timeline,
Yeah.
almost like a person.
Exactly, and that's where observation prediction comes in.
What?
UniSim isn't just creating like random images.
Ah.
It learns to predict what it should see next based on what it's already seen
Okay.
and the actions it's been given.
Right, that makes sense.
It's kind of like it's building this mental model of the world.
Yeah.
It's understanding cause and effect and then using that
Right.
to create a coherent and realistic simulation.
That's wild. So it's not just mimicking what it's seen before.
No.
It's actually like learning how the world works and using that knowledge
Yeah.
to predict what'll happen next.
Precisely. And the researchers aren't just theorizing about this, they're actually putting it into practice.
Oh.
They've used UniSim to train a system that can understand both language instructions
Okay.
and the complex movements that a robot needs to achieve a goal.
Wait, so they're using UniSim to teach AI how to how to actually DO things in the real world,
Yeah,
not just move around in a virtual space.
exactly.
That's crazy.
So they gave the system a high-level goal, like arrange these blocks in a circle
Uh-huh.
and let the AI figure out the specific steps and robot movements needed to make it happen.
So instead of programming every tiny detail,
Right.
they're giving the AI a goal and just letting it learn how to achieve it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a game changer.
It really is. And the results have been really impressive.
Okay.
So the system was able to generate these instructions that worked in the simulator.
Right.
And then when they transferred those simulated actions to a real robot arm,
Uh-huh.
it was able to complete the task in the real world too.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
They're essentially training robots in a virtual playground
Right.
before letting them loose on the real deal. No more like smashed vases or spilled coffee.
Exactly.
But what about, those rare events we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Like simulating dangerous situations to train self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the most exciting potential applications.
Yeah.
Think about being able to simulate all sorts of scenarios.
Uh-huh.
Crashes, near misses, even like weird weather conditions.
Right.
All within the safety of the virtual world.
Exactly.
It could be a game changer for developing safer and more reliable autonomous systems.
Okay, this all sounds amazing.
Yep.
But I gotta ask, are there any downsides? Is it really all sunshine and roses in the world of UniSim?
Well, like any technology, it has its limitations.
Okay.
One of the big challenges is what researchers call hallucinations.
Hallucinations, like the simulator is seeing things that aren't really there.
Right.
Like, is it haunted?
No, not quite.
Okay.
It's more like the simulator might produce unrealistic results
Wait,
when
wait,
it's
well.
given impossible tasks.
Uh-huh.
So imagine you instruct UniSim to have a robot like wash its hands,
Right.
but the robot doesn't have any hands.
Yeah.
The simulation might go haywire, showing the robot like morphing or the environment changing in like bizarre ways.
So it's like the simulator's trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just comes up with some pretty wild solutions.
Exactly. It's still learning the boundaries of the real world.
Makes sense.
Another limitation is memory.
Okay.
UniSim can only remember a certain amount of past actions
Uh-huh.
and observations. It's kind of like having a short-term memory.
So if like a simulated event happened a long time ago in the simulation,
Right.
UniSim might just forget about it.
Yeah,
That could lead to some interesting inconsistencies.
that's right. It's a trade-off between memory capacity
Okay.
and computational power.
Right.
The more UniSim remembers, the more resources it needs to run.
Of course.
But it's important to remember that UniSim, while it's powerful, is still just a tool.
Yeah.
It's up to us to use it responsibly and to be aware of its limitations.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
As with any powerful technology, we need to think about the potential consequences
Yeah,
and make sure we're using it for good.
absolutely. And despite its limitations, UniSim is still a massive leap forward in the world of simulation and AI.
Right.
The ability to create such realistic and complex virtual environments just opens up a whole universe of possibilities.
I can only imagine.
It's really exciting to think about how it will continue to evolve
Yeah.
and what impact it'll have on our lives.
Yeah, it really is mind-blowing to think about, the potential here.
Right.
Well, let's get specific.
Right.
How could UniSim actually, change things
Yeah.
for people, outside of these research labs and tech companies?
Well, one area where I think it could have a huge impact is the creative industries.
Yeah.
Imagine, filmmakers being able to create entire movie scenes just by describing what they want to see.
Yeah.
Or game developers building these vast and realistic worlds
Right.
without having to hand design every detail.
That's amazing. So it's like giving anyone with a computer the power to become I don't know, Spielberg
Right.
or a game design guru. That's pretty democratizing.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just entertainment.
Okay.
Think about education and training.
Uh-huh.
Imagine learning complex skills like surgery or flying a plane
Right.
in a completely safe virtual environment.
Yeah.
You could make mistakes and learn from them
Right.
without any real-world consequences.
Sign me up for virtual flight school. No more fear of turbulence.
Exactly.
But taking it a step further, could UniSim be used for, I don't know, simulating historical events?
Yeah.
Could I actually walk around ancient Rome or witness, The signing of the Declaration of Independence?
That's not outside the realm of possibility.
Wow.
As the technology advances and, the simulations become even more realistic, those kinds of immersive historical experiences could become a reality.
That's awesome.
And it's not just about looking back.
Okay.
UniSim could also be this really powerful tool for tackling, present-day challenges.
Like what?
Think about simulating the spread of diseases to help develop better public health strategies.
Okay.
Or testing different city layouts to see how we can reduce traffic congestion and pollution.
So it's like having a crystal ball, letting us preview different scenarios.
Yeah.
And make better decisions for the future. It's like a giant what-if machine.
That's a great way to put it.
That's cool.
And while we need to be mindful of the potential downsides and make sure that, this technology is used ethically.
Of course.
The possibilities are, truly exciting.
Well, I think it's safe to say that this deep dive has left us with a lot to think about.
Definitely.
UniSim is, clearly a game changer.
Yeah.
And it'll be really fascinating to see how it continues to develop and impact our world.
I think it's definitely a technology to keep your eye on. And as we wrap up, I encourage everyone listening to just, let your imaginations run wild.
Yeah.
What incredible simulations would you create if you had the power of UniSim at your fingertips?
That is a great question to ponder.
Yeah.
And if any of you out there have any thoughts or questions about UniSim, be sure to leave us a comment.
Please.
We love hearing from our listeners.
We do.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of universal simulators.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,